Understanding rental laws isn't just for lawyers. In New Jersey, both small landlords and tenants can benefit from understanding the rules that guide how leases operate and how they can come to an end. We're eForms, the world's largest online database of fillable legal forms. In this video, we'll cover what New Jersey's rental laws are, what they say about things like security deposits and late fees, and what they have to say about evictions. And if you're seeking to take the guesswork out of lease agreements, click the link at the end of this video to begin creating a rental contract that meets New Jersey requirements. The first thing to consider is, what are New Jersey's rental laws? They're a mix of state laws and court decisions that set basic rules for landlords and tenants in the state. New Jersey's laws are a bit more scattered than most states and can be found in several different parts of the state code. But in most cases, these things won't be the first thing a landlord or tenant turns to if there's confusion or disagreement about the lease. It's the lease agreement signed by the parties. New Jersey, like other states, gives parties the ability to set their own terms for renting a property. The rental laws are more like a floor or ceiling that the parties can't go beyond in a lease agreement, even if both parties sign the agreement. If a particular term violates state law, then that part of the lease agreement can't be enforced. So what are some of the requirements New Jersey rental law imposes? The state caps how much a landlord can seek as a security deposit, no more than 1.5 times the monthly rent. If the landlord does require a security deposit, the law requires that it be returned to the tenant within 30 days, less any amount kept by the landlord for repairs. Landlords should spell out in a lease agreement what sort of things they can justify as retaining some or all of the deposit. The law also states that rent is not considered late until a 5-day grace period has elapsed. If the tenant provides rent after this point, a landlord can charge a late fee, but the fee must be reasonable and should be identified in the lease agreement. The state also has fairly involved requirements for what landlords have to do with property they believe has been abandoned by a tenant. See the link in this video description for an explanation. In some instances, there is a violation of the lease agreement that cannot be easily resolved. In that case, it may be time for a landlord to consider an eviction. New Jersey's eviction rules are among the most protective of tenants in the country. If a tenant has failed to pay rent, a landlord generally has to provide a notice informing the tenant that if rent is not paid within 30 days, the landlord can pursue an eviction. The 30-day notice rule applies to most other kinds of lease violations too, except those that threaten the peace and quiet of the neighborhood, which require only 3 days' notice. If the tenant fails to do what is asked for in the notice, then the landlord can pursue an eviction with their local court's special civic park clerk's office. This requires filing a verified complaint describing the justification for seeking an eviction and a summons requesting that the tenant come to court. New Jersey's rental laws can seem intimidating, but once you have these essential concepts down, you'll be better prepared to evaluate a lease. Hit the subscribe button for videos on other relevant property law topics.